Back at Cardiff City World, I'm Si, this is Robert, and this is superstar Matthew Angel. And the boys from the Flower Hour are here with today, Ace Podcast Nation HQ, as we're going to discuss Cardiff City's Player of the Year. Robert, who's your first suggestion?
Perry.
Why?
Because he literally, I think that whoever Perry, I know there's a couple of other players around him in the back five. For Perry, we've been in relegation zone, fact. He's carried the boys through certain games this season, and he showed, like, I know you're not a big fan, but he showed that scouts instinct, like literally of dragging players through when they've been crap, and players ahead of him who's not been the best. He's brought them to the best they can, and I've even quality, mate. He's obviously chipped in for a small lad, chipped in with headed goals, assists. He's been class, mate, and I think that unfortunately we probably are likely to lose him in the summer. This will be real. I think bigger teams will come, but for me, I think he's been quality, mate. He's super cheap on the back of his shirt as well. So Perry NG all day, mate.
No, and I think, in fairness, Perry NG's, like I said before many times, in my opinion, is the best right back in the Championship, or certainly up there with Walker Peters.
100%.
I think the mentality and the attitude of him, it means that he never, like, even when we've had terrible results and we got a bit of a shoe-in, you never see him shirk a challenge. You never see him give up.
The arms never go up
down,
in the air. The arms never go up in the air that you see with so many players and
never down
things like that. No, he literally runs. He would run through a brick wall.
Was it the Bristol City game? I think he barged.
Oh, a bit. If it was the Bristol City game, and I swear to God, I couldn't even care less. Well, it's a lie, but I couldn't care if we'd lost our game to a certain extent because of what happened there. You should, literally, the lad went hell for everything. And as we said, Perry's not a big boy, really. Obviously, he's muscular structure, but he literally bounced off him and pulled him.
The thing I do like about him actually is he's got a bit of shithousery about him. Like
that's the Scouser way, mate.
I think
that is the Scouser way, mate. I think that's the Scouser in him that says no nonsense. Let's have you. Come on.
Yeah. But I think we all agree that Perry NG is probably going to get Player of the Year. But let's, for the sake of argument and debate, let's have a discussion about who else could potentially be in the conversation.
Yes, sir.
I think the first one, the main one really, which kind of springs to mind, at least in my opinion, is Ruben Corwell. I think he's been our most creative player. I think he's been the best attacking player by quite a considerable distance. And I think we used the term when we were rating the players on someone else about coming of age. And I think he stepped up this year. There was some questions being asked about him at the start of the season. Was he good enough? Did he need to go on loan? Could we get rid of him? And I think we all knew Ramsey was not going to play 40 games this year. So it was a chance for Ruben to step up and show what he could do. And I don't think he's disappointed, really. And I think, in fact, I said on one of my reviews recently, I think he's been let down by the attacking players around him, which has caused him to maybe not create as much or get the stats, the stat padding of the assists and the goals. And actually, I think in the latter part of this season, he's picked up a couple of assists recently where we've been a bit more attacking. So maybe his stats have suffered a little bit through the tactics that we play. But I think overall, he's been outstanding. He works hard. He's got a good attitude. Never gives up. He's physical, and he played 90 minutes the other day as well.
Yeah.
Anything to add on Ruben?
No, I agree. I think he's been outstanding. I think he stepped up the plate. I think obviously we would have liked to have seen Ramsey play, and we always seen. I think at the start of the season we've seen Ruben as a bit of a replacement, swap and change between him and Ramsey. But I think, he stepped up to the plate and he's been able to slot in and,
Here's a question then to you both, but Rob, I suppose first. Do you think that he's been that good that if, Ramsey's fit now, you'd still look to try and fit Colwell in the starting 11 somehow?
That's a great question. Yeah, I absolutely do. I think the big difference, I think, is that Ramsey has the capability of making players around him do better, whereas Caldwell hasn't got the experience yet of doing that. So, like, for example, a Ramsey
can inspire, can't he?
An underperforming Conor Roberts, for argument's sake, for Wales, do better in a Welsh squad. Just the name that comes to it, or a Hal Robson-Carney, as a good example. A Hal Robson-Carney, who's never been naturally gifted as a proper out-and-out number 9, but he's inspired him to be.
Just got that bit of extra.
Exactly. Whereas Ruben, he's got a lot to learn. And I think that the future's bright for him, mate. I think he's very, very talented footballer. We can't wait to see what he comes up with.
No, he's been very good this year. Who else would you add to the list, Matt?
Off the top of my head, I think Sio's got to be up there in contention. Or at least his name floating around. I know we discussed previously about he had a slight dip in form, but again he's new to the English Championship. It's going to be a bit of a culture shock as well. But I think he's shown glimpses in performances this year. His work rate, he's got such an engine on him. He don't stop running. And I think the Southampton game, the tracking back he done to cover Tanner and support him there. Yeah, I've been
really kind of epitomised what he does.
Yeah, I think it was quite well documented when he signed that. He's come with a manager. I think he gave up, didn't he? Like give up the last bit of his contract or something.
Yeah. He wanted to be here, didn't he?
Yeah. So, and I think fans loved him before they even seen him play because just for that.
Yeah, it shows the want to be here. It goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one out the left field just for the conversation. I wouldn't necessarily say. I think if he had been able to stay fit, I think he'd be banging the conversation, and that's Mark McGuinness. For the first part of the season, I thought he was outstanding. He was good on the ball, good positionally, good defensively, and actually, our dip in form came when he dropped out of the side. Phillips was finding his feet because we missed having a defender who could play those good crossfield balls or play through the lines and get us up the field. And we became very sort of sideways, backwards when he left the side because, it took Phillips a few games to be able to step up into midfield and be comfortable on the ball. Just, new team, etc. On that, Rob, would you add Phillips into the conversation in terms of player of the year, or do you think like his impact has been pretty good, hasn't it?
For Phillips?
Yeah.
I've never been a big fan of pegging players for player of the year when they've only done half a season,
Yeah.
But I think he's the epitome of the caveat of the rule because, like you guys know how much of a fan I am of McGuinness. I think he's outstanding. I think he's going to have a fantastic career. If it weren't for the fact that Phillips has jumped in, I think we would be up shit creek. Personally, I think we would be we'd be in the relegation battle now. $1,000,000%,
Phillips.
$1,000,000%.
Because McGuinness went, we had no one at that level.
No, well that's right. They tried Perry and Gia centre half, and it didn't work amongst others. And Phillips has been classmate. I think he's too good for the championship.
Love to see him for another season.
You bite your hand off when you to get him here. Like I said to Angel, he loves his fundraising, jump on a bike and raise some money to a GoFundMe to get Phillips.
Phillips did say in his presser this week before the Borough game that he would like, he quite likes it down here. He's playing, he's enjoying his football.
I take our pinch of salt, though, in fairness. I think
what else is he going to say?
That's a tick box exercise, in fairness.
What's he going to say now? It's fucking
that
shithole.
Shithole, it smells like poo.
Interesting that he's got 2 years on his contract because everyone thought he was on a free at the end of the year.
Yeah, we a lot of us thought. I think most of us on here thought that.
Which I don't mind actually, because that means that he probably will go on loan next year, depending on who the Liverpool manager is. Anyone you'd add, Matt, to the list?
Yeah, it might be controversial, but I've been a great fan of him, really. I know my dear friend on the side there probably throw something at me after, but Carl and Grant, and I think for me, just for his work rate.
I agree, mate.
No pun intended, but granted, he's not the finished article, in my opinion. But just for that work rate and the want, he looks as if he wants to be out there. He tries, there's effort there. I would have liked to have seen more goals, but yeah, I think just for work rate, I think he's worth a mention.
Yeah, I think he's worth a mention. I don't think, really, I think it's Perry and G in it, but I think ultimately it's probably between NG, Psyopis, and Ruben Corwell. I think that's the three to me. But I got to say, I think Perry NG has got it all sewn up. Does anyone disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, look.
All depends if he's signed a pre-contract with a Premier League club.
If he's signed a pre-contract with a club, he's a fucking tour, then he can piss off. You can cut that out if you want. No, but the Grant one, sorry to jump on you, Ange. Look, you guys who've watched Flower Hour, you know who we are.
You're an armchair supporter, you are, mine, right? I go and watch.
No, look, there's no disputing the fact he works his absolute arse off, the beats he runs, etc. But, not to paraphrase from the things we say on the show, but he's all fart, no pool. And I think that the running and stuff can only get you so far personally. Yes, he's worked hard. Yes, he's worked damn side harder than a lot of the players who's in that squad. But I think there's a lot more deserving players who deserve player of the season personally. But
yeah, I think
we're all entitled to our opinions. Yours is wrong, but we're all entitled to our opinions.
No, I think as well. You can say you can throw him in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I think Rob rightly says, the hard work to be player of the year, you need something a bit more than working hard. And I think Perry NG is the standout. Ruben Corwell probably the one underneath. But so that's our views on player of the year for Cardiff City this year. Who do you think is player of the year? Drop a little comment below. Let us know who you think. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like all that good stuff. The Flower Hour with these two is every Wednesday and Saturday, and you can see me most of the other days, among other things, as well as vlogs, interviews with ex-players, all sorts of stuff. Cardiff City content 7 days a week by the fans, for the fans. Thank you very much.
I'm a flower.
Yes, guys, I'm Rob. I'm one half of the mighty Flower Hour hosts. Here to give you my player of the year, my young player of the year, and my academy player of the year picks, along with some explanations behind it. Start with player of the year, Perry NG. I think he's been outstanding this season. Granted, he's tailed off a little bit for the last couple of weeks, but I think that he's been absolutely outstanding overall, pound for pound, probably the best right back in the division, and I think that if it wasn't for him, we'd be a damn sight lower. In my opinion, if we don't sign Phillips, definitely got to be captain next season, with Ral's going to be playing even less of an impact, I think personally. Young player of the year, I'm going to go for Ruben Corwell. I think that, he shows this latter end of the season how important he is, how good a player he is, and it's a shame that it's taken 6-7 months into the season for the gaffer to see how talented he is. So I think it's going to be a big season from next year. And talking of Colwell, his younger brother, I think that he's the Academy Player of the Year for me. I can't wait to see what he can do. I think that he has got a very bright future. Dare I say, even bigger future than his brother Ruben. So I think that future's bright in the Colwell house, and hopefully we can look at building a squad around him. So always remember, cheers and up a flower.
Yes, guys, Matthew here from the Flower Hour. Just a quick video, really. My nominations for Player of the Year for Cardiff City this season, 2023-24. For me, is out of two, really. Perry NG, again, had an outstanding season. Mr. Consistent for me. I think the last couple of weeks, obviously he's been out injured. And he's had a little bit of a dip, but, you know, considering he's been first name on the team sheet for me all season, without doubt one of the best right backs in the league. You can kind of understand why he may have a little blip over a couple of weeks, but for me, he's right up there. And the other one for me is Siopis. I think he's been outstanding since he came in. His work rate, again, he had a bit of a couple of weeks where he lost a bit of form, but I think that's understandable given, you know, his work rate and things like that. He's been a mainstay in the side as well. But if I had to give it to anybody, it'd probably be Perry NG. I think we'll struggle to keep hold of him in the summer, but, you know, if he does go, let's just hope that money's invested wisely. Fingers crossed. So that's Player of the Year. Young Player of the Year, for me, there's only one really who's, you know, the youngest player. He turned 22 the day of the Middlesbrough game. Unfortunately, he was out injured, which was a disappointment because I thought Southampton, he was outstanding. So you won't be shocked to hear Ruben Colwell, Young Player of the Year. I think he hasn't had enough game time for me, especially earlier on in the season. But, you know, he's shown glimpses this year of what he can do. And I think if we can invest and have better players in front of him and around him next season, I think he'll flourish even more. I just want to see more minutes and time of him on the field, really. Academy player, I think, is difficult because I think we've only had one player who've come through the last couple of games. Joel Colwell's been knocking on the door and he's put in some really good performances for the under 21s or 23s, whatever they're called nowadays. Kean Ashford, again, he's been knocking on the door. He's been on the bench a number of times. Thought he'd done really well against Southampton. Played again against Middlesbrough. So, for me, or he's in the squad, should I say, for Middlesbrough. But for me, you know, you'd have to give it to Kean Ashford. I don't think anybody else from the academy has really put their hands up enough. I think Joel Colwell have put his hands up, but he just, the manager, for whatever reason, haven't given him enough minutes. So for me, Academy Player of the Year would be Kean Ashford. That's a wrap.